Is Rey a Mary Sue? The question has been on the mind of the Star Wars collective for nearly a decade at this point, and there are still people on both sides of the debate that insist that their opinion is correct. You may be thinking, but what about you? Do you think Rey is a Mary Sue? Me? Personally? Well, I think that because The Force Awakens puts most everything about Rey into a mystery box, she does indeed come off as a Mary Sue because none of her skills are really built upon in the movie, aside from her proficiency with her staff, in my opinion. And when it comes to her piloting skills or her ability with the Force, because everything else about her is in a mystery box, her past, her parentage, and we aren't given any actual answers in the movie itself, Rey does come off as a Mary Sue who is just good at everything and is liked by everyone. Now, while I may bash the mystery box approach now, at the time of The Force Awakens, I delved right into the lore and the mystery of it all. The mystery box approach did what it was supposed to do. It got people talking. When it came to Rey's heritage, there were theories ranging from the idea that she was a Kenobi or a Skywalker, to her being the long-lost daughter of Han and Leia, and I also remember one where someone thought she might be a clone of Luke made from his chopped-off hand. The theories were endless, and the community was having a blast, regardless of if Rey was a Mary Sue or not. Then, The Last Jedi happened. And while it brought a lot of things to the table, it also removed a lot of mystery with what some people would call subpar answers. But what I want to focus on is one crucial scene in The Last Jedi that, in my mind at least, helps push Rey as a character away from the Mary Sue archetype, while at the same time makes me dislike her as a person. And that would be this scene right here.
Is it true? Did you try to murder him?
Leave this island, now!
Stop! Stop! Did you do it? Did you create Kylo Ren? Tell me the truth.
I saw darkness.
Then he's our lost hope.
Now, before I break down this scene, I want to emphasize that I am coming at this from, as Kenobi would say, a certain point of view. One of the main themes of The Last Jedi is failure. So I'm going to focus on every one of Rey's failures as a character in this one scene. Failure number 1. When she pressed Luke Skywalker, her master, about the truth about what happened with Ben Solo, Luke told her to leave the planet. Now, from Luke's perspective, we have some girl he's known for like 2 days asking him about one of the most traumatic events of his life. He, naturally, doesn't want to talk about his most personal failure with someone who is essentially a complete stranger, and he walks away. The next thing that happens, Rey strikes Luke over the head from behind with her stick. This is not the act of a heroic, badass Mary Sue. This is the act of a coward. Real badasses look you in the eye before they hit you. Failure number 2. As the battle ensues between master and apprentice, Luke is able to disarm Rey of her staff. And Rey's response? She pulls out a lightsaber, causing Luke to stumble backwards. Now, let's think for a second. What is she mad at Luke about? He pulled a weapon on his sleeping nephew while he was defenseless. And now what has she done? She's pulled a weapon on an old man with a stick when he proved more skilled than her. She has essentially done what she's angry at Luke for doing. The hypocrisy is very thick here, and this again is not the act of a heroic badass Mary Sue. This is the act of a coward who will do anything to win. Failure number 3. When Luke and the rest of the audience aren't looking, Rey steals the sacred Jedi texts from their hiding place, essentially robbing the elder man she just attacked. Failure number 4. After all is said and done, Rey takes the Falcon, the only means off the planet at the time, as well as Chewbacca and R2-D2, the only 2 friends Luke has on the entire planet, and leaves Luke on Ahch-To with no way off, essentially abandoning Luke the same way she was abandoned by her parents. This is, like I said earlier, from a certain point of view, so you may disagree with the interpretation I've just presented on this scene. Maybe in your eyes, Rey did nothing wrong in this scene and was completely justified in her attack, theft, and abandonment of Luke Skywalker, savior of the galaxy. If that's the case, then that's fair. You're entitled to your point of view. But from my point of view, this scene and the failures presented in it do the best job of pushing Rey away from the Mary Sue archetype, as none of these actions are the actions of a Mary Sue. It's just very disappointing that in order to make Rey not a Mary Sue, they decided to make her a cowardly, thieving little bitch. And no, I'm not calling her a bitch because she's a woman.